Graduates, be seated. Good morning, everyone. My name is Janet Cross, and I'm the Associate Dean for the Graduate and Medical Scientist programs here at UVA. That affords me the honor of welcoming you here today for our 2024 BIMS hooding ceremony. I want to take just a moment to welcome all the faculty and students who have joined us for the ceremony today. We actually have 39 students who earned their PhDs in our School of Medicine over the last year, 21 of whom are with us today. I also want to thank the families, friends, and most of all of the people who've been here to support our graduates as they have completed this difficult journey. We are here to celebrate today the achievements of all of our graduates. I also want to wish a warm welcome to those who are joining us on the live stream, particularly if there are any grads out there who tuned in even though they couldn't join us today. It is wonderful to have you all with us this afternoon. Thank you for being here to celebrate this occasion with us. To kick off our ceremony, I'd like to introduce the Dean of our School of Medicine, Dean Melina Kibbe. Dr. Kibbe began her 5-year appointment as the UVA School of Medicine's Dean and Chief Health Affairs Officer in September of 2021. She is the James Carroll Flippen Professor of Medical Science, a Professor of Surgery, and a Professor of Biomedical Engineering here. Of note, Dr. Kibbe is a huge supporter of our BIMS programs in ways that have had direct positive impacts on many of the students in this room here today. So please join me in welcoming Dean Melina Kibbe.
Good afternoon, everyone. Can you hear me okay in the back? Do you want it a little louder? Yeah, that's what I thought. We need it turned up a little bit more. All right, so good afternoon, and join me, everyone, in welcoming our class of 2024. So today marks both the end and the beginning. It's really the end of a chapter of 4 years of college and 5+ years of graduate work, and also reflecting on what motivated all of you to make this choice in the first place. Now, I would say that it's the beginning of your lifelong career as scientists and as researchers in your chosen field. Now, I want to recognize and thank all the parents and the family members and the friends and the loved ones who are all here today. You have been here for our students. You have been there for them for good times and for bad times. And I certainly know how much it means to all of them that you are here today. So thank you so much for that. Now, to our graduates. So you made it. You accomplished a dream that many of you had since a very young age. And after years of dedicated studying, designing, and conducting countless experiments, and also troubleshooting a lot, and a lot of personal sacrifice, you did it. So you are here today, and it was a long road. And despite the bumps in the road and the potholes that you may have encountered along the way, you should be very proud of what you have accomplished. I know that everyone in this room, is incredibly proud of you for making it to this day. Now, before you come up here and I get to hand you your diploma and you are hooded, I would like to share with you 3 stories that will give you kind of insight into the career that lays ahead of you. These stories are stories of my own, and they come from my own personal experience as a researcher in a lab and being a scientist. And I hope that sharing my stories will serve as an inspiration to all of you, and also remind you of the incredible privilege and responsibility that comes with being a scientist. All right, so lesson number 1, let failure be a powerful motivator. So while research can be extremely rewarding, it can also be difficult and very frustrating and sometimes discouraging. So failure is going to be a constant companion along your journey of discovery. Manuscripts, trust me, many are going to get rejected many times over before they get accepted. Grants, rejected. In fact, I go into grant submissions just assuming it's going to get rejected so I don't get let down when it does. And then experiments, you all know experiments are going to fail. And so it is a lot of rejection. I'm sure you're asking yourself, what am I doing? But kidding aside, throughout your scientific career, there are going to be many times of great excitement and great success, but many more times likely of failure. It's part of being a scientist. So what is important is how all of you react to that failure and what you learn from it. So I'm never going to forget my own first application for an NIH R01 grant. So I was a junior faculty member, and for those of you in the audience who do not know what an NIH R01 grant is, it's basically a grant that's given to you to an independent scientist. It's very prestigious. It's the type of grant that pretty much any scientist in an academic center wants to secure. And in a way, securing an NIH R01 grant when you're in an academic setting is like a rite of passage because it proves to the research community that you are a scientist capable of conducting impactful research. So it's a big deal. You get the point. So I submitted my very first NIH R01 application, and I was really excited about this science, but of course I was very anxious about what was going to happen with the grant. You will be too. I still remember the day where I was sitting, when I opened my summary statement so that I could see what my score was. There was no score. It was triaged. That means it was the bottom 50th percentile of the grant applications. I was very obviously devastated with my very first NIH R01 application. Now, statistically, many of you will face the same scenario, especially if pay lines stay at the 10 to 15% that many of them are right now. But it's how you cope and react to this failure that will define your career as a scientist. So I could have thrown in the towel at that point, but I didn't. So I believed in my research and I picked myself back up. And do you know what I did? I reached out for help to a lot of people. I reached out to mentors. I reached out to sponsors. I reached out to investigators across the country that didn't even know me, but were in the similar field. And I got a lot of help. And I revised that grant literally about 30 times. It was on version 30 before I resubmitted it. So guess what happened? I resubmitted it, and the revised grant got a perfect score of 10. I can't make that up. It's never happened ever since then. But so this goes to show you that in research, the ability to overcome setbacks and barriers, even when the work is hard, is crucial to your career. And how do you do it? I would say persistence, belief in yourself, belief in your science, and belief from others is how you're going to overcome the many challenges that you're going to encounter throughout your career. Most of all, learn from your failures. Let failure push you to do better and be better. And do not give up hope. Persevere and pursue your dream. So let failure be a powerful motivator. You will be a better scientist because of it. Lesson number 2, be a great and good collaborator. So in the world of scientific investigation, if there's one truth that I've come to acknowledge in my own career, it is this: great science relies on good collaboration. So as a junior faculty member, I was pursuing research and started my lab, and I would describe my research when I first started out as a combination of physiology and cell biology. And I had a very clear goal of what I wanted to accomplish with my research and my lab. I wanted to develop better therapies for patients with vascular disease using novel pharmacologic approaches. The entire trajectory of my research changed when I met one of my now lifelong collaborators, Sam Stoop, 18 years ago. So Sam, he's a material scientist at Northwestern University, and our research programs were as different as they could be. Normally, in fact, I would say we never ever would have met or interacted. We ran in completely different circles. We were in different departments, different schools, and even different campuses. Well, one day after I learned about his research, I went out on a limb and I decided to approach him. And I was a very junior faculty member at this point. Now, at the time, folks were starting to develop targeted therapies for cancer. So I'm a vascular surgeon and a vascular biologist, and I thought, why not develop a true targeted therapy for vascular disease? Because the vascular system, our blood vessels, is the highway in which we could deliver a true targeted therapy. So I approached Sam. Sam was working on peptide amphiphile nanofibers. I was working on nitric oxide-based therapies. And so I pitched to him this idea of combining our two approaches to develop a true targeted therapy for vascular disease. Our idea was pretty bold at the time because we needed to attach a targeting epitope to the peptide amphiphile nanofibers and then deliver a drug and have it deliver through the bloodstream and go exactly to the site that we wanted it to go to and nowhere else. So the proof of concept experiments, they were very complex, as you can only imagine, and challenging. Designing those nanofibers, lots and lots of troubleshooting. But it was in the face of those obstacles that we experienced the true power of our collaboration. So with Sam's expertise in material science and mine in vascular biology and vascular surgery, we really tackled this and tackled it with passion and determination. So then the moment of the truth arrived. After a lot of work, we had our targeted peptide amphiphile nanofiber. We injected it into an IV. It went through the bloodstream, circulated, and it bound exactly to the site we intended. It worked. So we did it. It was super exciting. And I remember that moment like it was yesterday. So our mutual vision opened up a new reality for both of us. And since then, we've been publishing together, we have grants together, we train students together, we are still conducting research together 18 years later. We now have a whole suite of targeted therapeutics for a wide variety of different diseases, not just vascular disease anymore. So my younger self would never have predicted that my research would have taken this course. All of this was because of our collaboration and me going out on a limb and reaching out to Sam 18 years ago. There is no way my lab would have been able to do this alone, but together we could. So as you all embark on your career, my advice to you is to be open to collaboration and actively seek it out. Some of the best science and innovative ideas come when individuals from entirely different research backgrounds come together to solve a problem. Embrace this concept, and your science will be better for it. So be a good a great and good collaborator. The last lesson, lesson 3, I want you to embrace the circle of academic life. So as graduating graduate students, you have served in the role as mentee. Soon, you are going to begin to serve in the role as mentor. So I want to tell you about the circle of academic life. So the relationship between a mentor and a mentee is unique. It's dyadic because it's between two people, and it is hierarchical because usually the mentor is senior to the mentee. The mentee typically learns much from the mentor, as the mentor serves as a role model, teacher, advisor, sponsor, you name it. Now, as a young trainee and as a postdoctoral researcher, I was fortunate to have many amazing mentors in my career that I learned so much from. I learned how to ask the big questions, how to design experiments, how to properly troubleshoot the experiments. And I learned how to analyze and present the data so that others can understand it. And I learned so much more about how to navigate my career and also what I would need to be successful in my career from my mentors. Well, after taking my first faculty position, I then started my own lab. And I became independently funded, and then I became a mentor to others. And it is a cherished relationship. Being a mentor is being able to support the career development of others, and it is incredibly rewarding. And it is incredibly rewarding to also watch as the mentee progresses through their career. So as time goes by, and you become a more senior investigator, and you will, something starts to happen. And this is where the circle of academic life comes into play. You, as a senior mentor, begin to learn from your mentees. You may learn interesting, novel techniques or different approaches. Your mentees may educate you on how to use AI with your research or other really kind of new software that might be out there. Your mentees may have out-of-the-box thinking and ideas that you never considered. So despite their inexperience, your mentees will possess a unique ability to breathe new life into your work. This is the circle of academic life. And I hope that during your career, you will be able to complete this journey. Up until today, you have been mentees. Soon, you are going to become mentors. And I hope you will embrace this last chapter of your careers when you become mentees again and are open to learning from your mentees. It's important to embrace this circle of academic life as it enriches all who are involved. So I encourage you to remember these 3 lessons throughout your career as a scientist. Lesson 1, let failure be a powerful motivator. Number 2, be a great and good collaborator. And 3, embrace that circle of academic life. So in addition to my 3 pieces of advice, I reached out to some of our School of Medicine research leaders last week, and I asked them, what advice do they have for all of you today? So I'm going to share with you a few of their sage words. Stay open-minded as you navigate your career in science. Your journey will lead you down unexpected paths, presenting opportunities you cannot even fathom. Embrace risk-taking and welcome transformative change. Take risks, be brave, and be bold. Embrace failure as part of your learning process. And remember, if you don't participate, you cannot win. I like this one. Do what you love and love what you do. Never lose sight of the goal to do outstanding science. Follow your passions and believe that you can make a difference. Never forget why you were drawn to science in the first place. Keep curiosity and wonder alive, and in so doing it, inspire it in others. And lastly, don't forget to stop and smell the roses. It's easy to get immersed in our work, but it's important to remember the things that bring us joy. So let me finish by quoting the words of Steve Jobs to the graduating class at Stanford in 2012. I think his words are perfect for you. Your time is limited, so don't waste it living someone else's life. Don't be trapped in dogma, which is living with the results of other people's thinking. Don't let the noise of others' opinions drown out your own inner voice. And most important, have the courage to follow your heart and intuition. So congratulations to the class of 2024, and may you all go on to achieve great things in this world. Thank you.
So our program in 2017 moved into the School of Medicine. Prior to that point, our degrees were all conferred by the Graduate School of Arts and Sciences. But today, all of our graduates will be receiving their degrees from our School of Medicine. One of the best things that we inherited when we moved into the School of Medicine was a very rich and enjoyable affiliation with the Medical Alumni Association. They have brought wonderful things to our event planning and celebrations. I'll talk a bit more about that later today. They've been wonderful partners in holding 2 BIMS reunions for our graduates, which I hope some of you will consider participating in when the next one comes around. And so as you all make the transition today from students to alumni, I would like to invite Barry Collins, the Executive Director of the Medical Alumni Association and the Medical School Foundation, as well as the Associate Dean for Medical Alumni Affairs, to make a few remarks.
Thank you for that warm introduction. It's really an honor to be here on this momentous day for you all. Your journey through the rigorous demands of a PhD in biomedical science is unparalleled knowledge, expertise, but it really demonstrated your resilience, determination, commitment to advancing human health. Today, you join a distinguished network of alumni who are pioneers, innovators, and leaders in their fields. As alumni, you are now part of an ever-growing delegation of ambassadors for the UVA BIMS program. Through networking and professional development opportunities, our alumni often participate and benefit from career insights and advice from other alumni and career professionals with the university. During your time here, as Dr. Cross had mentioned, we have done many things with you over the years to try to connect you with our alumni at various events, anywhere from our reunions, our career panels, our end of summer socials. We've celebrated milestones with you, such as the lab coat ceremony and the advancement to candidacy ceremony. Graduating and receiving your diploma today with a great sense of pride does not mean that your time with the university has to be over. Getting involved with your alumni association can provide connections, career services, an alumni network, a wealth of knowledge, and an opportunity to help the students that come after you. You are an invaluable part of the medical school community. And as we look forward to seeing the incredible things that you will all do as alumni of this school, Being an alumnus and receiving all the perks that come with this is also a two-way street. Alumni participation is certainly critical in building and maintaining a strong community within the university and the School of Medicine. So my charge to you today, to our graduates, is to be an active member of the UVA Medical Alumni Association and the community of the School of Medicine, now as alumni. Stay connected, share your personal and professional news. Come back, get involved, come to our reunions, be part of our career panels for the students. Nominate one of your colleagues or yourself for the Early Achievement and Distinguished Awards in Biomedical Sciences. Come back for the reunions. As you embark on your next phase of your career, remember that your contributions have the potential to transform lives and shape the future of medicine. Stay curious, remain steadfast in your pursuit of excellence, and never forget lesson number 2, the power of collaboration. Congratulations on this incredible achievement. Welcome to the esteemed community of alumni of the UVA School of Medicine. Congratulations.
All right, as we move closer to the main event, I just want to take an opportunity to follow up on the remarks of Dean Kibbe and Barry Collins to say just a few personal words to our graduates. As a representative of the BIMS affiliated graduate faculty who could not be here with us today, I hope that you'll take some time today to reflect on the amazing things that you've done while you were here and the transformation that you've undergone during the time you've spent with us. Not only as a scientist, but also as a person. We are incredibly proud of who you have become since joining our Biomedical Sciences graduate program a number of years ago. We all know that graduate school is really, really hard, and the challenges at times can seem insurmountable. This has certainly been even more true during your tenure here. Your family and friends have lived through these times with you and recognize how meeting these challenges has helped you to become the people you are today. I hope that you see it too. In fact, I hope that you can see what your friends and family see, what your colleagues and your faculty see, young men and women embarking on the next phase of their lives with confidence. I hope you see what your mentors, other faculty, and fellow students see, how you have evolved into true colleagues and experts in your field with tremendous potential to take on the world. Which brings me to the second point I want to make. I know I speak for all the faculty in the audience, as well as those who could not be here today, when I say that your journey is not over. While you are likely to all follow very different paths, we are confident that you will take the training that you have received here at UVA and use it to do rewarding and impactful things. With that, it's nearing time for our main event, the ceremonial hooding of our graduates. For those who have no idea what I'm talking about when I speak of a hood in this context, please let me turn the podium over to our Assistant Dean for Graduate Research and Training, Adrian Halme, who will explain in a bit more detail.
All right, thank you, Janet. And you know, I'm really honored to be participating in this ceremony with this really highly accomplished group of BIMS graduates. So it's my role here today to tell you a little bit about some of the symbols of this ceremony that confer the doctoral degree. And so the academic regalia you see, like all of these outfits, and the placing of the doctoral hood on the graduate is really symbolic of achieving an academic distinction of an advanced degree. And it's the product of a really long history of symbols that derive from multiple cultures. So these outfits that we wear are likely to have originated as early as the 9th century during the Islamic Golden Era. when scholars from around the world would travel to universities in Fez, Morocco, Cairo, Egypt, and places such as what is now Baghdad, where the great centers of knowledge and education were during that time. So as a mark of distinction, upon completion of their studies, scholars would be bestowed robes that are related to the Arabic athab. So it's also thought that the unusual mortarboard and tassel also may derive from this era as well, with a flat mortarboard representing the Quran and the tassel being the bookmark that's used to mark your place in the reading. So hundreds of years later, these gowns became very useful necessities in the cold halls of the medieval European universities, and were amended by the hoods that we'll be bestowing on our graduates, which likely derive from the scholarly monk's cowl. So during the Renaissance, these hoods began to take on a more symbolic representation of status, with distinctive colors and fabrics specifying rank, degree, and institutional affiliation of the wearer. The interior lining of the hood displays the color of the institution from which the degree has been earned. The outer edge of the cowl is trimmed in velvet. The color of the velvet hood trimming is distinctive of the academic field. And for our students here today, earning the Doctor of Philosophy, their velvet is navy blue, but I think you'll notice a number of our colleagues also have doctorates in medicine, which have the green velvet. The length of the hood will vary depending on the level of academic achievement, with the longest hood reflecting the doctoral degree. So these are the traditional symbols associated with the doctoral hood. However, just as these symbols have accrued meaning over the centuries, I'd really like to invite all of our graduates to imbue the hood with a symbolism that's meaningful to you all. So the hood could represent your history. How did you get started along the way to becoming a scientist? Maybe it was a teacher who first showed you that you could use the scientific method to understand something about the world around you. Maybe it was a relative you really admired whose pathway you followed. Or maybe you're the first in your family to actually earn a doctoral degree. Every inch of this hood's length can represent the challenges that you had to face in achieving this goal. So each experiment that didn't work, each hypothesis you need to revise because the data didn't support it, each time you had to come into lab late at night and keep your experiment going so you'd get a result the next day. And the persistence and resilience all of you had to demonstrate to keep your projects moving forward in the context of a global pandemic. So probably your hood should be about 10 feet long and dragging behind you. So the colors of the hood can reflect your community as well. The people who supported you along the way, mentors, colleagues, friends, many of whom might be here with you today. And finally, once you're wearing the hood, you'll notice that it forms a continuous loop over your shoulders, telling you that your journey's not over and you still have many more achievements to come. So in this way, the hood is not only about your academic achievements, but also about your journey, your resilience and perseverance, your community, and your future accomplishments as well. So with that, I'd really like to offer my most heartfelt congratulations to our students that are graduating with their doctorate from the BIMS program. We're really proud of what you've achieved, and we're so excited to see what you do in the future. Thank you.
All right, the time has come. So a few logistics for the remainder of our ceremony today. As I mentioned earlier, we had 39 students who graduated from our BIMS program this past academic year. We also have one graduate of our MSTP program, that's the combined degree MD PhD, who has elected to wait and receive her PhD hooding the same day as she is earning her MD degree this afternoon. I want to take a moment to recognize any grads who might be here on Zoom. We miss you and wish that you were here. I will now call each graduate in turn to join us here on the stage, along with the person or people that you've chosen to hood you today. We have an X here on the stage. That's very important because we've stationed a photographer strategically in the front row to make sure that we capture images of each of our students as they receive their hood. Friends and family are welcome to snap as many action shots as you like during that part of the ceremony, but there'll be plenty of time later on to get the more formal photos that you all may like. Once your hood is successfully placed, please step over to receive your ceremonial scroll from Dean Kibbe, and then you can return to your seats. With that, I will begin the ceremony. So if Dean Kibbe could join us on the stage. We have 2 students graduating this year with the Master's in Science in Biological and Physical Sciences, and both have offered me the honor of hooding them. So first up, I would like to welcome Sarah Hernandez. The other thing about these hoods is they're very difficult to get on when you've got the big mortarboard. So this will be fun. Next up, we have Erica Sloger, who also earned the Master's of Science. All right. For our PhD grads, I also have the honor of reading the titles of your dissertations. So it gives you plenty of time to amble to the stage. So our first PhD grad is Jessica Annis Bacon, who earned the PhD in microbiology. Her project was titled CMV5S Drives Inflammation and Macrophage Loss, Promoting Viral Infection-Induced Tissue Damage and Corrupting Protective NK Cell Immunity. Jessica will be hooded by her PhD mentor, Michael Brown. All right. Our second graduate today is Letitia Beltran, who earned her degree in biophysics. Her project was titled Prokaryotic Conjugation, Understanding the Process of DNA Transfer in Archaea and Bacteria. Letty did her PhD work under Ed Egelman, but he couldn't join us today, so she will be hooded by Jim Casanova. All right. Our next graduate is Amarise Cardenas, who earned her PhD in microbiology. Her dissertation was titled Neisseria gonorrhea sialylates its lipooligosaccharide to subvert the human neutrophil response. Amarise will be hooded by her PhD mentor, Allison Chris. All right. Our next graduate is Heejin Jian, who earned her PhD in biochemistry and molecular genetics in 2022. Her title was Genomic Landscape of Large Granular Lymphocyte Leukemia. Heejin's mentor was Dr. Thomas Loughran, but he couldn't be here today, so she will be hooded by her Director of Graduate Studies, Jeff Smith. And we wish Heejin well this afternoon when she gets her MD at the Paramount ceremony. Our next graduate is James David Cole. James earned his PhD in neuroscience with a dissertation titled Characterization of Aniridia in PAX6 Deficient Mouse Retinas. His mentor was Shairong Liu. The ones with the height differential are always the best. All right. Next up, we have Sarah Docknall, who earned her PhD in microbiology with a dissertation titled Regulation of Herpes Simplex Virus 1 Latent Infection and Reactivation by Facultative Heterochromatin and Neuronal Stress Signaling Determined Using a Novel Primary Neuronal Model. And Sarah will be hooded this afternoon by her mentor, Dr. Anna Cliff. All right. And if I can ask Anna to stay, she actually has 2 graduates in our ceremony this afternoon. The second is Allison Francois, who will also be earning her PhD in microbiology. Her dissertation was titled Heterogeneous Polycomb Silencing of Incoming Herpes Simplex Virus Genomes During Productive Infection. Next up, we have Elizabeth Gagne, who will be earning her PhD in pharmacology. Her dissertation was titled Understanding the Role of GPCR-Mediated pH Sensitivity in Hypercapnic Breathing Regulation at the Retrotrapezoid Nucleus. And she will be hooded by her mentor, Doug Bayless. All right. Next up, we have Yi Hua, who's earning her PhD in experimental pathology with a dissertation titled Islet on a Chip and 3D Bioscaffolds for Islet Transplantation. Yi's dissertation was mentored by Dr. Jose Oberholzer, but he couldn't be here today, and so she's offered me the honor of hooding her. Next up, we have Yitao Huang, who's earning his PhD in physiology. His dissertation title was The BRD4.1L Axis in Vascular Smooth Muscle Cell Phenotypic Transitions and Vascular Diseases. He Tao will be hooded by his mentor, Lian Wanguo. All right. Next up, we have Jeremy Kuklevich, who's earning his PhD in biophysics with a dissertation titled Molecular Insights into Capsular Polysaccharide Secretion via ABC Transporters. And Jeremy will be hooded by his mentor, Jochen Zimmer. Next up is Melissa Ann Luce, earning the PhD in physiology with a dissertation titled Influence of Metabolism on Vascular Function. Thank you for that one. Melissa will be hooded by her mentor, Dr. Brant Isaacson. Next up is Minyoung Ma, who's earning the PhD in cell biology for a dissertation titled Innovative Strategies for Type 1 Diabetes Treatment. Minyoung will be hooded by his co-mentors, Kenneth Brayman and Gordon Laurie. Next up is Yashaswini Neelam Raju, who's earning her PhD in biochemistry and molecular genetics for a dissertation titled Identifying Molecular Signatures Associated with Aging and Myeloid Malignancies. Yashaswini will be hooded by her mentor, Dr. Francine Garrett-Bakelman. Next up is Caitlin Pavelek, who's earning the PhD in pharmacology for a dissertation titled Pannexin 1 Channels Control Cardiomyocyte Metabolism and Neutrophil Recruitment During Non-Ischemic Heart Failure. And Caitlin will be hooded by her mentor, Dr. Norbert Leitinger. Next is Juliana Piacentini, who's receiving her PhD in biophysics for a dissertation titled Biophysical and Biochemical Studies of HIV-1 Capsid Interactions. Juliana's PhD was mentored by Dr. Owen Porneus, who couldn't be with us today, so she will be hooded by her Director of Graduate Studies, Dr. Elia Leventhal. Next up is Dr. Randall Shira, who is earning his PhD in biophysics for a dissertation titled Focused Cryo-EM Studies of the HIV-1 Capsid Reveal CA Pentamer Structures. Randall was also mentored by Owen Porneus as well as Barbie Porneus, but they couldn't be here today, and so he will be hooded by Anna Cliff. All right. Next up, we have Shinrei Shi, who's earning the PhD in biochemistry and molecular genetics for a dissertation titled UBA1 CDK16, a sex-specific chimeric RNA and its role in immune sexual dimorphism. And she will be hooded by her mentor, Dr. Hui Li. All right. Next, we have Amy Van Dusen earning the PhD in neuroscience for a dissertation titled Mass Cytometry of the Developing Mouse Nervous System. And she will be joined by her mentors, Eli Zunder and Chris Deppman, both of whom will hood. Next up is Sarah C. Wong, who's earning the PhD in microbiology for her dissertation titled Mechanisms of Perivascular Melanoma Dispersal and Survival in the Brain. Sarah was mentored by Dr. Drew Dudley, and he's here to do the hooding. All right. And I think the final graduate who's joining us today, Chao Jia Young, who's earning the PhD in biochemistry and molecular genetics for his dissertation titled Leveraging Multi-Omics Data to Understand Genetic and Biological Mechanisms Underlying Fatty Acid Metabolism and Coronary Artery Disease. Chao Jia is being hooded by his mentor, Ani Manashaikul, and her little one. The little one walked the lawn this morning as well. So those are the graduates who were able to join us here today. Our ceremony is near to drawing to a close, but I have a few thank yous that I want to make sure that I get out there. So first of all, I'd like to thank Barry Collins and the Dean for being here today to give remarks, and I'll tell her she can go and sit down so that she doesn't have to stand there while I thank 100 people. I also want to thank the Medical Alumni Association, our partners in this, as in all of our celebratory events. Our primary contact for this event is Jill McKinley. I imagine they're not in the room because they're probably next door scurrying about getting things ready for the reception. She's also joined by Kate Liverman, who is also our partner. They will be providing some of the snacks for the reception this afternoon, so thank them for the sustenance. I also want to thank Deb Hepp, the special assistant to the dean, who's been very instrumental in pulling the ceremony together today. A huge shout out goes to Jennifer Hamlin, our master's event organizer. She's a member of our BIMS admin team. She herded all the cats. You probably have gotten so many emails from her. She's done with that now. I also want to thank another member of our BIMS admin team, Nick Baralis, for the program and the slideshow, which I hope you will all enjoy next door in the Learning Studio while we celebrate your day. Thank you, Nick. The remainder of our BIMS admin team, who you know and love, Mary Hall, Kim Knotts, Patrick Sheets, and Bill Garmer, all contributed to the ceremony in more behind-the-scenes ways, so please thank them when you see them. I also want to thank Lexi Johnson and then Jennifer and Bill, who sat through a training so that they could be our official crowd managers for today. I hope you didn't give them a hard time. I didn't hear the whistles, but they all got whistles as a result of doing that training. So don't make them whistle at you during the reception. We have a number of members of our Graduate Biosciences Society here helping us today. I want to give a special shout out to Paul Dell, who kind of coordinated amongst the GBS students and also volunteered last minute to step in as our expert photographer here in the front row, so you'll all have photo mementos of your graduation ceremony. Lexi Johnson was out there helping you all get lined up and in the right places, so I guess her official role is usher, and we thank her for doing that. Ryan Macon and Luke Voss were outside the doors handing you your programs as you came in. Ariana Sabzavari and Fei Fen Zhu are responsible for the cake that you will find next door and the flowers that are spread around the Claude Moore Learning Studio where we'll have our reception. And Casey Boykley and Johnson Ung were the last two members of GBS who also contributed to the organization today, general hands on deck. So special thanks to our students who came out today to celebrate their colleagues. And I want to say a final thank you to the students, mentors, family, and friends who made this event special by being here with us today. This concludes our 2024 BIMS hooding ceremony. We have a lovely cheese crudité dessert and sparkling reception next door on the first floor of the Med-Ed building, affectionately known as the Learning Studio. There are nice, comfortable, dry tables to sit at. Where you can enjoy refreshments. I am going to ask that our graduates and mentors stick around so that we can get some more formal photos from today. We're going to go out in the courtyard here, and hopefully the lighting will be good for those. And if family and friends can follow the crew to our reception, we'll join you over there shortly. Okay, thank you.